submission. I'll try and blitz through everything because there is a lot to show, but first things first, we need to run the app. So I've cheated slightly. I've done some of the initial steps like mvm clean install, but everything's run through Docker. You see we've got Docker Compose here. This will run the database, then it'll run Keycloak. Once they're ready, it'll run the service and the UI. So if I do Docker Compose up, I didn't think I was going to do that, but I'll leave it in, whatever. Okay. So if I now pull my browser over, I guess I can show this, because see everything's running. And if I go to localhost 5173, we've got my app. Okay, so this is the home screen. So we're not logged in at this stage, and our only option is to go to the store, and we can browse whatever we want. So we can search, everything's paginated. We can change the page size, 50, and we'll see the number of pages changes based on how many pages are left, basically. You can see everything's available at the moment. Some of them are very expensive, but yeah. If I look for the search, we've got test 1, we'll see there's one page available, all the ones with test 1 partial search in them. I can search for 2, we'll see the same thing. Move to the next page, move between. Got the option to try to look at the purchase page, but it will ask us to log in. So if I log in as an admin initially, there's 2 users, admin user and basic user. Both use password. If I log in, this takes us back to the home screen. We see we now have our user information. So we've got a balance of lots of money, an account page and a store page. If I go to the store page, we can click either button, but if I go to the store page, see we've got this extra create button and an edit button. So these are unique to admins. I can purchase. Let's just take us back. We'll see, oh God, what one was that? I don't even know what I just purchased. Test 0. Yeah, we can see it's unavailable now. And if we go to, I'll purchase a couple actually. See, as we're doing this, our balance is moving down. If I refresh the page, that won't change, that's in the database. You can see we now own 3 number plates, and that will continue to rise. We can edit a number plate actually, let's add a number plate first, because there's a couple of things to show here. So we can add a number plate, as you'd expect, give it a value, let's say 10. So this is my car's number plate. And if I search for that, WB70, see it's now available for £10. We try to create, and we do have validation on the back end and the front end. So the front end will tell you must be present, format's invalid. If I try to do the same number plate again, let's say number plate already exists, that'll be the case even if I add a space, for example, it'll still say number plate exists. If I click this, it'll take me to where the validation is a problem. So same here, value can't be negative. We do have validation for forbidden terms. So if I show you weed, I don't know, contains forbidden terms, and Nazi, whatever. This is a very aggressive profanity checker. So if I do weed, it's also checking for numbers as substitutions, and it checks that this combination of letters in this order exists anywhere within the string. So if I break this up, and do WV70 UFX if I add one more. So that's a valid number plate now, but it contains weed within it. We'll see that we still get forbidden terms. Even if I fix the value, it's not going to let me actually create that. So TLV, that's my old number plate. So yeah, same for edit, all the same validation is around. Annoyingly, if I do this, I can't change it to the same thing, which I guess is fine, but if I change this to test 1 million, actually won't let me do that because it's invalid. AB12 ABC, there we go. And we now can see AB, that's there, edited. On the account page, we can look at our existing owned number plates. So obviously we don't need to know that they're not available. We can't buy them. So we see we can only edit, only admins can edit these, or we can register a new number plate. So anyone can do this, but it will create a number plate that is not available for purchase. It can only be owned by the registering person, and it costs £10. So this is how they create, a user would create a custom number plate. All the same validation again that you'd expect. If I do Nazi again, number plate format's invalid. But yeah, QW75 BTW, who knows? But yeah, we can see it has no value because it's custom plate. And yeah, that's that. If I now log out and log back in as basic user, I won't actually show these things because they're exactly the same, so there's no need to purchase. But you can see the add number plate and edit number plate buttons are gone. Same on, I guess I will. I'll show depositing funds. So we see we've got £100 as a normal user. If we enter, this is a fake, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even get to the back end. But if we add an amount, say lots of money, store, purchase, test 3, complete purchase. Back to number plates. We'll see basic user has their own selection of number plates. So we don't have crossover between the users. And they don't have the edit button. They can still create a new one. This won't work because it exists, but DW5TB. Yeah, they can do that. Those custom plates are visible on the back on the store. So what did I just do? DW, yeah, but they come up as unavailable. So other users can see all number plates that exist. They can't necessarily purchase those plates. We'll see that logged in as basic user now, we have some things that are actually preventing us from going to admin pages. So if I go to, pretend that didn't happen. I'm guessing it's actually the wrong thing. Trim back the curtain slightly. Yeah, store/new. There we go. It'll say that I'm not authorized to access this page. I should have put a 404 for the other one, but yeah. Same thing if I log out and then try to access store/new. It will take me to the login page because I'm not even authenticated, so it doesn't know whether I should be allowed in or not. So I think that's everything for the app. If I show some of the code, if we start here, so we see this, all of our keycloak stuff comes from this auth here. We have this realm export from the Docker Compose. This gets imported. Where is it? Yeah, so we tell it, look here, get this and import all of these, and this is where the user stuff comes in. We've got an OpenAPI YAML, so this specifies all of the backend endpoint request schemas, and this is actually what's being used on the front end. So we can actually generate type definitions from that YAML. So if I create a new terminal, cd into numberplate UI, and do npm run generate. Obviously, this isn't going to do anything spectacular, but we can see it's found that, and it's created numberplate contract.ts. So that generate is coming from here, and it is creating numberplate contract. So this auto-generated paths type, which is used in services, which I will show you now. So here, for example, on fetch account, we can see we do all our authentication, send it, and then we actually use this paths to get back the expected account type. So this is automatically being mapped. Paths already knows what it is to account, which is here, username, balance, and numberplate count. For our actual authentication, so you saw the login page, that sends a login request to Keycloak. So that's coming from our environment variables. We get a JSON web token back, and that is sent to cookies, and we've got a cookie change event. So this handles expiration and stuff, but we see in a couple of these we will actually get the token. It won't be in that one. Wait a second. If I show you in main.tsx, we've got these. So this is where our root definitions are, because we're using React Router. We've got this protected root wrapper higher order component that actually contains the component that is for this page. And we're specifying that to access that page, the user needs to have numberplate UI admin role. So this first checks, are they authenticated? If they're not, send them to the login page. If they are, we're going to check whether they have that role or not. So if we go back to the auth service and go to has role. So first we get the user. So there's an npm package called JWT decode that is going to decode that JWT into this token type, which has an expiration, preferred username, and this is the realm roles. And then it's basically just going to check, does that exist? And it's going to return true or false. I don't think there's much need to labor the front end. Obviously we've got a couple of reusable components, like login and logout button. We've got some custom hooks, so this is what's handling creating these event listeners. So this is specified on app.tsx. So this exists for all of the pages. This hook will be loaded in and we'll always be listening for that cookie change event, so we can handle logouts on expiry. Same for these. Rather than explicitly send them to a 401 or a 403, we actually listen for events 401 and 403, and then send the user to these pages if those events ever get triggered. We've got our routes are mapped. There's no actual mapping, but just logically these are mapped to the endpoints within the app. So we can see store, buy new, and update, which are what we had on the front end. Login and our account deposit and number plate, and within number plate we've got register. So yeah, I think that's enough for the front end. I guess it's running on Vite, so this is what's actually serving the pages. Yeah, if we go to, I guess I will show npm and test. There's not exhaustive testing on the front end, but all of the service classes are being tested. So these have, I'm not sure it's test coverage, but I'm pretty sure they're close to 100% coverage on all of these. On the back end, if I close all tabs, and start again. So we've got our entities, so customer, they're pretty simple, and number plate. These for request get mapped by data transfer object. So I won't show all these, but this one, they have this from. So if we have a customer response object, then we can turn it. Oh no. If we have a customer, sorry, we get it from the database, then we can create a customer response from that customer, ready to send back to the front end. If I show authentication, so we'll see we are actually preventing requests from coming in to the backend through OAuth. Our GraphQL stuff doesn't have any authentication, but everything else, we'll see, like to create a new number plate, they have to be a service admin. So even if they manage to get to that page on the front end, their request wouldn't actually get through on the back end. If we go from bottom up on these, so we've got customer repository, pretty simple. Number plate repository has a custom query for the search functionality that you saw. So not for the search, for the uniqueness constraint. So it doesn't care about white space, basically. A number plate that has the same characters but an extra white space is the same as a character that doesn't have white space. Services. This is where the magic happens. So we've got a customer service, handles actually taking the request, turning it into something that can be used by the repositories and actually doing validation. So customer one's pretty simple. We can't create customers, but we can get customer and we can add balance to a customer. We've got a number plate service. So we can get number plates, get a number plate by ID, create new number plates and update number plates. And purchase service, this is handling sort of the crossover tasks. So a user can purchase a number plate that involves the customer repository and the number plate repository. So yeah, you can see all these here. We've got some custom exceptions. They're not worth throwing. We've got a couple of controllers. So we've got the customer controller. We can see we can retrieve customer by username, get all the number plates, all that stuff. The cool thing here, I guess cool, it's actually quite annoying, but when we're getting a customer, we're not sending the username of the customer or any of that. The authentication token contains the username. So we're expecting the authentication token, we're decoding it, so we're parsing that and getting the username from it. You can see there's some stuff, so we check the token's actually valid. We decode it, turn it into key value pairs from the JSON, and then return preferred username. Can I go back? Yeah, okay. Then we send that to the service, and here you can see that data transfer object taking that entity, turning it into the customer the front end will receive. Same for these. So we never send redundant usernames and stuff. The only problem with this is I wanted to add admin, what's it called? Like pretending to be other users, so they could be an admin and log in as another user and do actions as that user. But because they were logged in as themselves and it was getting the username from their token, that didn't work. And I didn't want to add a bunch of extra endpoints, so I left that. So that is a consideration. This works for this, but it's limited. The number plate controller has a couple of validators. I won't go through everything, but on all of the creates, updates, registers, whatever, we've got this validator.validate. So if we go to validator, we've got a number plate validator. It does some basic checks. It creates this error body. So the error messages you saw on the front end will come from these. The error body contains the property it's linked to and the actual message itself. But yeah, we'll see. It checks, is the number plate there? Does it match this regex, which I found on GitHub? It looks more complicated than it is. It's actually just a bunch of small regexes. Checks the value, and then it does a profanity check. And this is my Frankenstein of an algorithm. It's one of the worst algorithms I think I've ever seen. But it checks for profanity in a text. And so here we've got a num-to-char map of potential conversions of numbers. You'll see 1 could either be I or L, 9 might be P or Q. We've got the actual profanity list. So I kept it small. Because of the time complexity of this, if I added a lot more to this, I do think it would just crash the app. But it's fine, we've only got 4, and the actual number plates are pretty short, so it's fine for what it is. Dead, weed, death, Nazi. And we'll see, we create, based on the number plate, we create a forward mapping. That's what I've been saying. I don't know if that even makes sense, but of all possible words that could be created from that word. So regardless of letters in between as it goes forward. So we'll see, we ignore empty spaces because they just don't matter. But turn numbers into letters, and then we create a memo for each word that already exists. We create a new word and append the new letter to it as we go forward. So this is crazy, but it works and it's tested. So we've got not a lot left here actually. We've got a data seeder. So this is where these initial things come from. We've got our basic user and our admin user who's rich. And we create 100 basic number plates. Yeah, I think that actually covers off everything. That's very whistle stop. I'll run the tests with coverage. Oh, you can see it here anyway. But you see there's almost 300 tests, close to 100% coverage. If I show, I'll show the GraphQL stuff now. It's really cool. I created, so all available endpoints from the REST application are available from GraphQL. Obviously they're not using auth. If I stick that there, stick that there and go to localhost 8079/GraphQL. So we can see this here. I have cheated slightly. If I go here, oh geez. I've got all of these. So if I show query runs first. Oh, they're already there. That's weird, he must have cached them. But if I comment on the mutations, so I can show the query, we can get the admin user, get the number plates with ID 1, and get all number plates all at the same time, which is pretty cool. Obviously, as you know, we can just specify what we actually want from the customer. So those are the ones we purchased and registered on the actual front end. Same for the mutations. I think you can only run one mutation at a time. Oh no, you can run multiple, you just can't have the same one. Oh, that's fine. I will show add new. We'll see all the same validation is there. So ABC -1. Number plate format's invalid, value cannot be negative. So if I do weed, we're going to get contains forbidden terms. Instead of that, I do a valid one. UFP. We created a new one. We can update. UFQ. So ID. Okay, let's show in validation. Number plate not found with ID 1000. If I go 1, so we see that's now been changed. We can purchase, deposit, register. I'll just run them all at the same time. I don't think there's any need to. Oh my god. Register. Change that to Q. Deposit. Please. Okay. Number plate not available for sale. Anyway, it shows what I was trying to show. We've deposited some money, we've registered, and we can see that it's there. So yeah, the error handling, initially it was sending back, so if we check the actual controllers, oh, that's the test. We'll see, I'm sending exceptions, so throw a new illegal argument. Initially that was just coming back as nonsense in GraphQL, and I found this. So apparently Spring looks for an exception resolver to turn it into a GraphQL error. So this doesn't have to be explicitly called. This is actually a dependency that exists in the background that Spring looks for. But when the GraphQL controllers throw an exception, they hit this, get translated back, and that's where we get those nice error messages. We are turning it, so in the normal controllers, each error is sent as a unique object that contains the error message and the property that it's related to. I didn't feel that was necessary for the GraphQL stuff, so I've just turned those error bodies into a single string, basically. And same for the unique constraint. We check it and then we just send back a string. So yeah, I think the GraphQL stuff's really cool. I don't think it's as useful as REST in most cases from what I'm seeing, but no, I didn't even know what it was, so I thought it was really cool to work with this. Yeah, I think that is everything. I'm trying to think. All of it will be in the submission anyway, so no, I'll call it there. Cool. I've got to figure out how to stop the recording now.